The Ashes is almost nearing to an end. Australia have retained the Ashes despite the scoreline, which is an obvious scoreline at this point, it's 2-1. England may morally and on social media have won it 5-0 for all they care. But the simple scoreline does not reflect the fact that Australia have retained the Ashes and their retention of the urn is now going to extend to a decade. But throughout this series, we have seen that England's players have been in delusion. The commentators and the media have been in total delusion mode when it comes to certain events. The fans' behavior have also reached to the lowest of the low. For example, mocking Steve Smith, like they were saying that we saw you crying on the telly. Whereas England players in the past have also indulged in the acts that Steve Smith have done. But in the guise of British nationalism and all that, the fans conveniently forget. As we all know, the English press and the England fans, they are all of nature of convenience if you have to look at it. But the fans' behavior, when you have to look at England players as fans, England fans in particular, their behavior has reached an all-time low by the events that happened on day one at the Oval. And it all was centered on Ricky Ponting. Now, you all know that Ricky Ponting was the subject of several, for weeks and weeks he was booed in 2009 because of his comments that he made in 2005 about the substitute fielder. Now, that law was a different kettle of fish altogether. So, when Ricky Ponting was doing the live analysis post-match, he was actually pelted with grapes. Yes, you heard it right. He wasn't pelted with stones, he wasn't pelted with pebbles. He was actually pelted by grapes from one section of the fans. And Todd Murphy, Ian Ward, who were there at that time, they also had to take cover. Now, Ponting was absolutely quivering with rage because he said, I have just been hit by a grape. I wouldn't mind finding out who that was actually. You could see he was absolutely fuming when that was happening. And why? Because he was actually pointing out the truth that England's batters had probably frittered away the advantage. 283 all out on day one. Sure, you scored at 5 runs per over. But where does that merit this kind of behavior? Agreed, you may have called a spade a spade. England's commentators, the only one good thing that is good about England cricket is the commentary. They are often saying what it is, a spade. They are calling a spade, yet they don't get abuse. An outsider comes and says that is the problem. So, I have just been hit by a grape, and you could see Murphy might be having a laugh, but Ricky Ponting was absolutely furious about it. But this kind of behavior, if you have to look at it, you have to expect it from the England fans because the England players in the past have also indulged in this and they have engaged in whataboutery. Why? Because 16 years ago, in 2007, Trent Bridge. Do you remember this particular incident? Zaheer Khan was batting and he was pointing to something at the crease. It was a jelly bean. Yes, a simple, normal jelly bean became a major source of controversy during India's tour to England in 2007, especially during the second test in Trent Bridge. Now, when Zaheer Khan was batting, there were several players from the slip cordon throwing something onto the pitch, and it was jelly beans. Who was the mastermind? Many people say it was Ian Bell at that time. Maybe it was Kevin Peterson. Could have been Alistair Cook. We don't know who was the real actual culprit in that. But boy, did it fire Zaheer Khan up because he may have not contributed with the bat, but he actually bowled a devastating spell which ensured India won in England, and that was their only series win in this millennium if you have to look at it so far. But this jelly bean incident is once again proof that England may want to do whatever they want to do as long as they interpret the spirit of the game in a very convenient manner. But throwing grapes, and especially fan behavior, we all say that the Asian fans sometimes they cross the line with their antics. What about the England fans? The England fan, be it Edgbaston, be it Lords, be it Leeds, one thing can describe the England cricket fan at this point in time, and that is delusional and shameful, because no one warrants anybody to throw grapes at Ricky Ponting, and that to Ricky Ponting, who is one of the greats of the game. Let us be very, very clear about it. The England fans need a reality check because their team is not winning the Ashes 5-0. They are drawing the series most likely at 2-2, but it doesn't change the fact that Australia will retain it. Now, is this the first time that someone has been pelted with fruits? Well, Ricky Ponting just got a grape, but Sunil Gavaskar, the former India captain, was pelted with fruits during the India versus England test match at Kolkata in 1984. Remember, in 1984, Sunil Gavaskar had left out Kapil Dev. The team management and Sunil Gavaskar made the decision that Kapil Dev had to sit out the Kolkata test because of the rash shot that he played in the Delhi test. Now, because of that, Gavaskar was really the center of absolute fury from the Eden Gardens crowd. Remember, the Eden Gardens crowd, they have not had a glorious history when it comes to behavior. So, when Gavaskar was coming out and he was batting, and whenever they saw him, they pelted him with fruits. Yes, all kinds of fruits were thrown at Sunil Gavaskar, and that is why at 1984, it was indeed a real black mark when it came to crowd behavior. But remember, Kolkata has always had a history of crowd behavior. Be it 1969 when they were under the misguided conception that one of the Aussies was actually a Vietnam War veteran. That's how delusional they were. 1996, 1999, we saw how it was a black mark when it came to Indian cricket. So, when it comes to behavior, I mean, the England fans really, they let themselves down every single time. Sure, there might be gentlemanly behavior, there might be spirit of the game and all that kind of talk that has originated from England. But when it comes to living up to those two, boy, they never ever do that. So this Ashes has brought out a real ugly reflection of the England cricket fan, and they have a lot of soul searching to do. The cricket team might be doing great, but it is really, really important to understand that a fan's behavior must be according to what the team performs. If you expect the moon, you can't start right at the very base of it. So, if you expect the moon, you have to build better things. You can't go there on a June buggy in that sense. Thank you so much, folks, for joining us for this live. We'll be back with more updates on sports today. Tap that bell icon so you know when we go live, and don't forget we are on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram as well. Thank you.